Let's take a look at the Twitter network for hashtag APSA 2016 on the fifth and final day of the 2016 American Political Science Association annual meeting in Philadelphia. As we swung into the network for day 5, you likely noticed some differences between days 1 and 2, day 3, and day 4. In that, the structure for day 5 is comparatively flat. This more flattened structure is likely due to the emergence of several isolated neighborhoods that are anchored by influential nodes. Compared to the more unified structures on the first 4 days, this one is far less interconnected. However, this isn't very surprising considering that day 5 only consisted of a half day of panels. That said, while not necessarily central in the network, APSA tweets maintained a high level of influence and a large number of connections to other neighborhoods. This suggests that while the conference was wrapping up and discussions surrounding hashtag APSA 2016 fragmented into their own neighborhoods, APSA tweets still filled a valuable role as an influential broadcast network. Speaking of influential broadcast networks, Women Also Know remained a very popular topic on day 5. It's also interesting to note that Women Also Know didn't reach out to as many neighborhoods as it did on previous days, but that's not surprising considering that the overall network on day 5 is much more fragmented. Again, I feel this is largely due to this being the final day of the conference, and people are breaking off into areas of post-conference discussion. This notwithstanding, Women Also Know still maintained a pretty durable reach throughout the network on day 5. In large part, this was due to accessing a number of different bridges. In this case, Paul Musgrave served as a key bridge for extending Women Also Know's reach across the network. I was pretty stoked to see yours truly pop up in the middle of the graph, but in contrast to real estate, location isn't necessarily everything. The position of my node was largely influenced by its relationship with Women Also Know, who was featured prominently in the first several days of graphs, and its relationship to Jason McDaniel, who served as a focal point for a great deal of post-conference discussion. And sliding down, we see the leading candidate for Troll of the Conference, Bill Kristol, whose brief punditry largely consisted of less than glowing assessments of our academic discipline. His node's prominent yet peripheral persistence in the hashtag APSA 2016 network is largely a cautionary sign that you should never feed the trolls. However, in the grand scheme of things, I think it's safe to say he provided us with a pretty good source of entertainment. And his moderate influence on day 5 was largely due to the structure of the end-of-conference network. This wraps up my network analysis of hashtag APSA 2016 on day 5 of the American Political Science Association annual meeting. This is not the final video in this series. That will come with my final analysis of all tweets mentioning hashtag APSA 2016 for the entirety of the conference. I'll also be sharing some summary statistics, as well as looking to identify any trends in the discussions and major themes of the conference. Consider following me on Twitter at Eric Vorst so you can be notified when the video goes live. I look forward to sharing that with you, and as always, thanks for watching.